Splatoon released for the Wii U back in 2015 to great reception. Just 2 years later, it received a sequel for the Nintendo Switch and another game on the same console 5 years after that. This franchise is ever growing, and with it, so is its fan base, giving the community a safe space and welcoming players of all backgrounds for them to call home. If you've surfed the online community or been a part of it at all, you'll know that the fan base is made up of a variety of people, from neurodivergent players to the gays. Now, of course, you might be thinking, well, true, but isn't that the same for every online community? And to that, I'd say, shut up, let me make my point. The difference with Splatoon is that the fanbase's identities are celebrated and often projected, or in some cases represented canonically in the games. The playable characters, referred to mostly as the agents, are silent throughout each campaign and have little to no backstory, allowing for headcanons and giving players the ability to construct their own original characters to project onto these blank slates. There's a lot more than this though. Splatoon is so important for a lot of marginalized groups in society. It gives them a safe space to express themselves and has introduced characters that mirror them and issues that are ongoing in the real world. I'm so out of breath. Help. It's no secret that the Splatoon community is largely made up of queer individuals, and over the years, Nintendo has catered to them by representing their identities in-game through various characters. Off the Hook is a pop idol duo introduced in Splatoon 2. Since the beginning, Pearl and Marina have been heavily implied to be dating. It's never been officially confirmed, but after the ship name Pearlina was created, and a movement had begun in the fanbase, turning it into a widespread headcanon, it's likely Nintendo decided to further Off the Hook's relationship because of this. Either way, it's apparent they've been in love from the start, and their connection has only grown, with Side Order having a ton of references hinting at their relationship, like how Marina's desktop background is a picture of Pearl, and the pair talking about having, quote, us time. I'm right here, guys. Coming from the same franchise that started with very gendered customization options, with the whole girls have long hair, boys have short hair mentality, it was refreshing at the time to see something so inclusive, that being a lesbian couple. Another character that stands out to me is Act. It's unclear specifically what their gender identity is, but it's widely believed that they're non-binary. I say it's unclear as the Japanese translation of Side Order apparently doesn't use gender terms for them, but other languages refer to them with she/her pronouns. But also said languages don't have gender-neutral pronouns, so it's a bit foggy. Either way, the English-speaking community tends to label them as non-binary, so we'll do that here. An interesting tidbit about Act's lore is that when they were in the Deep Sea Metro, they willingly let themselves get partially sanitized. They wanted to devote themselves fully to their music and lift pressure off their shoulders. This allowed them to cleanse themselves of all doubts and worries they had about music production, giving them essentially tunnel vision to focus solely on music and nothing more. This is about to be the biggest stretch I'll ever make in my life, but I low-key don't care. Act's story really reminds me of the queer struggle. Not fitting in anywhere, but still having passion, yet you fear the outside world and it comes crashing in on you. You can't be yourself, so the only solution in this situation is to suppress your identity. This is what Act went through. Not literally, but in a metaphorical sense. They felt it was important to suppress themselves in this way, so they sanitized their life away. Act isn't non-binary, you're just being woke. Okay, well, Orion from the Chirpy Chips is confirmed non-binary, so argue with the wall. The whole story of Does my mouse make noise? Oh, it does. Crazy. Okay. Octo Expansion shines a light on Octarian culture that was previously unexplored. Before it was released, hell, even since Splatoon 1, we were conditioned to believe that the Octarians were the evil ones, as we played as the Inklings who knew no better. This, of course, mirrors the discrimination against marginalized groups in the real world, and Octo Expansion gave us a new perspective, where we learned they were just a struggling society reaching for justice. The story follows Agent 8, a very clearly black-coded character, as we can see from the concept art. At the beginning of the Octo Expansion, it was revealed that 8 had gotten into a fight with Agent 3, a privileged character who lives on the surface. 3 doesn't understand the Octarian society and treats them like enemies thanks to the encouragement from Captain Cuttlefish, an old person with old-fashioned views, again, mirroring the real world. The whole story of Octo Expansion follows Agent 8 as they defy what was set before them. It's a journey not just of personal growth, but fighting for your people. Not only was a large portion of the Octarian society sanitized, but they were being used by Tartar, a character who initially promised hope, but turned out to be a tyrant, planning for the destruction of the Earth's population as if it was for the better. Does any of that sound familiar? Octo Expansion is a story from the perspective of a marginalized society. They were driven underground over a century ago and ever since have been labeled the villain. This attitude was then passed down to the younger generations, like the Squid Sisters and the agents you play as in each game. Agent 8 goes on to break the stereotype, gaining the trust of Captain Cuttlefish, who was responsible for creating it in the first place. After the events of Splatoon 2, more Octolings started to come to the surface, living amongst the Inklings and sharing a society. It's not all sunshine and rainbows though. After all, Overall, Splatoon is a work of art that tends to mirror the real world. It was revealed that when 8 made it to the surface, they disapproved of how much squid-themed material existed in Inkopolis. From brand logos to squid bumpers, they think the Inkling Society should reconsider what the world would be like from an Octalink's perspective. This can be linked to real-world issues, namely how representation is still a big factor that gets shoved under the rug. Today, media is still run and portrayed mainly by white people. It's not always on purpose that a cast has all white, even straight or cisgender actors, but if your big group of characters aren't all related, maybe try not to have all of them be straight white men, is all I'm saying. To sum things up, Splatoon has always been home to those who don't see themselves represented in other forms of media. This franchise is truly special. It includes so many characters and identities that it can be hard not to find a character you can see yourself in. From Deep Cut, the trio that blends Indian, Brazilian, and traditional Japanese influences together, to the lovable Squid Sisters and iconic Off the Hook, there are characters, music, and artwork that everybody can attach themselves to, and that's one of the beautiful details about this franchise. But it really wouldn't be like this without the amazing community we have today. I really doubt that Off the Hook would have had the same strong connection if it weren't for the raging Perlina stance being noticed by Nintendo, or if we ever would have gotten something like 3 Wishes if it wasn't for the outpouring praise the franchise received for the incredible idols. All in all, we have both Nintendo and our community to thank for creating such an inclusive series. Nintendo has done an excellent job at bringing us a diverse range of characters with different identities and brilliant story modes that have morals and themes nestled within. And the community is filled with the brightest people I know. They're all so creative and they have their differences, but that only makes the fanbase even more colourful. Thank you to Nintendo and the Splatoon community for making such an amazing and welcoming space to exist in. Happy Pride Month and happy 10 years of Splatoon.